Welcome back, everybody. Today we're diving into something a little bit different.
Ooh,
Yeah, it's a reflection on All Souls Day
okay.
and how we remember those we've lost,
Yeah.
specifically from a Catholic perspective.
Okay, interesting.
I know this can be a sensitive topic for some, but
Sure.
stick with us.
Yeah,
This source isn't about dwelling on grief.
right.
It's about understanding and hope and that amazing human capacity to keep our loved ones close, even when they're physically gone.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there.
Thanks.
This source really does jump right into those big questions that we all grapple with.
Yeah,
Why do we remember the dead?
right.
What happens after we die? Can we truly connect with loved ones who have passed? And it offers some answers grounded in faith and tradition,
Yeah.
which can be a source of real comfort for people.
Absolutely. And it all starts with something so universal,
Oh, yeah.
so human memories. And that feeling, even though someone's physically gone, everything you share,
Right.
the experiences,
Yeah,
those don't just disappear.
exactly. The source makes this powerful statement.
Oh,
Memories never die. Love never dies.
wow.
And it really resonates with that deep human longing for connection, for continuity.
Yeah.
We don't want to just let go of the people who shaped us.
Right.
And in a way, we don't have to.
It's so true. And there's this anecdote about a patient who questioned the certainty of saints in heaven.
Oh, wow.
It really struck me because it shows that even within a faith context, doubt and questioning are natural.
Right.
They're natural parts of the human experience.
Exactly. It reminds us that these big questions, they're universal.
Yeah.
We all wrestle with them in our own way. And the source goes on to explore the soul's journey after death,
Okay.
which, as you can imagine, can be a source of both comfort and anxiety for many.
Absolutely. Like that story about the wife whose husband is facing brain death.
Yeah, right.
Her questions about when his soul reaches heaven, who takes care of it.
Yeah,
You can feel the raw emotion and uncertainty there.
absolutely.
It's something so many of us can relate to,
Yeah,
regardless of our beliefs.
it is. And that's where the source introduces the concept of purgatory.
Okay.
Now, for listeners who might not be familiar with Catholic teaching,
Sure.
it's important to understand that purgatory, it isn't about punishment.
Okay.
It's presented as this necessary process of purification,
Okay.
reflecting God's mercy and justice,
Interesting.
like a spiritual fine-tuning before entering into the fullness of heaven.
Okay, I have to admit, I always pictured purgatory as a kind of waiting room in the afterlife,
Yeah,
which, to be honest, didn't sound all that pleasant.
haha, right.
So this idea of purification is a different way of looking at it.
Exactly, and the source dives into the historical and scriptural context of this belief,
Okay.
highlighting the long tradition of praying for the dead to help them on their journey. It's about offering support to our loved ones, even after they've passed,
Yeah.
just as we would here on earth.
And there's that incredibly moving quote from St. Augustine about praying for his mother after she died,
Yes.
specifically remembering her request to be remembered at the altar.
Right?
It really drives home the personal, almost intimate nature of remembrance and prayer.
It's not just a ritual, it's about maintaining a connection,
Yeah.
carrying those we love with us in a tangible way. And that leads us to another crucial point.
Okay.
The role of the Eucharist as a point of connection with those who've passed on.
Now this is where things get really fascinating
Yeah.
because it's not just about personal prayer.
Right.
It's about bringing those memories, that love, right into the heart of communal worship.
Yes, the source emphasizes that when we bring our memories to the altar during the Eucharist,
Yeah.
we're not just remembering, we're reliving their lives, celebrating their existence in God. It's a powerful act of communion, not just with God, but with everyone who has come before us.
Yeah.
It reminds us that we're all part of this larger tapestry of life and faith.
So we've been talking about prayer in the Eucharist, but the source also dives in to something many of us grapple with,
Oh, yeah.
how we express our remembrance
Okay.
through things like physical memorials, grave sites, photographs, keepsakes, all those tangible reminders.
Yeah.
But the source raises a very poignant question.
What's that?
Are those really for them or for us?
That's the key question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are we doing these things to truly benefit our loved ones?
Right.
Or are we doing them to soothe our own grief and sense of loss? And this source suggests that the greatest gift we can give those who have passed
Yeah.
is something less tangible,
Okay.
but perhaps even more profound.
What's that?
Our prayers.
Oh.
It's a thought-provoking idea, especially in our culture, where expressing love often involves physical objects or grand gestures.
That reminds me of the anecdote about Father Patty.
So,
Specifically requesting that people focus on prayer for him after his death, rather than traditional forms of remembrance.
wow.
That really stuck with me because it suggests a deep understanding that true connection goes beyond physical presence.
Absolutely. It highlights a shift in the nature of our relationships after someone passes.
Yeah,
The connection becomes more spiritual, more internal, but no less real.
right.
And that brings us to another intriguing aspect of the source.
Okay.
It's exploration of different perspectives on death itself.
Okay.
What are some of the ways people have understood this transition throughout history and across different belief systems?
Yeah, it's like we're shifting our focus from the finality of death to the continuation of a journey,
Right.
just in a different form.
Exactly.
And that really ties in beautifully with the overall message of hope that permeates this whole reflection.
It does. Absolutely. The source doesn't shy away from the pain of loss,
Right.
but it does offer a framework for finding solace in the belief that life continues in God
Yeah.
and that our connection with those we love endures beyond the physical realm.
One of the things that really stood out to me was the inclusion of quotes from figures like Blessed Mother Teresa,
Okay.
who described death so simply as going home to God.
That's a powerful image.
Isn't it?
It really is, and it resonates with a similar perspective from Socrates, who viewed death as a migration of the soul from one place to another.
Wow.
Even though they come from vastly different backgrounds and belief systems,
Right.
both Mother Teresa and Socrates saw death not as an ending, but as a transition.
I find it so fascinating how these different viewpoints can coexist
Yeah,
and even complement each other.
it's true.
They offer a broader perspective on the mystery of death and what might lie beyond.
Exactly. It encourages us to think more deeply about our own beliefs and assumptions.
Right.
And it reminds us that while there may be different interpretations, there's a shared human experience of grappling with the big questions surrounding death and the afterlife.
And speaking of shared experiences, I can't stop thinking about that story of the 18-year-old boy's funeral.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that it was the longest funeral this priest had ever conducted
Wow.
speaks volumes about the impact this young man had on those who knew him.
Right.
It's a reminder that even a life that seems too short can leave an enduring legacy.
It really is. And it's so moving how his parents found solace in believing that he was reunited with his grandmother in heaven.
Yeah.
It speaks to the power of faith to provide comfort and meaning in the face of profound loss.
Absolutely. And it's not just about the people he knew in life.
Right.
Even in death, this young man continued to give by donating his blood cells for research.
Wow.
His selfless act could potentially help countless others in the future.
It's amazing.
It's a beautiful illustration of how our actions can continue to ripple outward even after we're gone.
You're so right. It reminds us that death doesn't erase our impact on the world. Our legacy, our love, the good we do,
Yeah.
it all continues to resonate. And that brings us back to the core message of this reflection.
Okay.
Love transcends physical boundaries.
Right.
The bonds we forge in life don't simply vanish when someone passes away.
No.
We carry them with us in our hearts, in our memories, and in the way we choose to live our lives.
It's about actively remembering them, not just in moments of grief or on special occasions,
Right.
but in the everyday fabric of our lives.
Absolutely.
How can we make their presence felt, not just in our hearts, but in the world around us?
It's a beautiful challenge, isn't it? It's about bringing those memories to the forefront,
Yeah.
whether it's through prayer, through sharing stories, through acts of kindness that reflect the values of those we've lost, or simply by carrying their love with us in our hearts.
And as we discussed earlier, the Eucharist offers a unique and powerful way to do that,
Yes.
bringing those we love into the very heart of communal worship.
It's a reminder that death, while a natural part of life, doesn't sever the connections we've made. It transforms them, perhaps.
Yeah.
But the essence of those relationships endures. So as we near the end of this deep dive, let's turn back to you, our listener.
Okay.
What stands out to you most from this exploration of All Souls Day and remembrance?
And how can you apply these insights to your own journey of healing and connection?
Right.
What actions can you take? What thoughts can you cultivate to keep those you've lost close to your heart and honor their memory?
This reflection has provided us with so much to think about.
Yeah.
So many different perspectives on death remembrance and the enduring power of love.
Yes.
But ultimately, it's up to each of us to find what resonates most deeply and to integrate those insights into our own lives.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I'm struck by that sense of hope that runs through this whole reflection.
Yeah,
It's not about denying the pain of loss,
right.
but about finding solace in the idea that death isn't a full stop. It's more like a comma in this ongoing story of life and love.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
And it empowers us to actively participate in that story, even after physical separation.
Yeah.
We can choose to keep those connections alive through our actions,
Right.
our thoughts, and our prayers.
Absolutely.
And speaking of keeping those connections alive, the source ends with a really powerful suggestion, almost like a guided meditation. Yeah, it asks us to remember one person close to you who has died. Bring this person's image into your mind's eye.
Wow.
It encourages us to visualize that person and their journey.
It's powerful.
It goes even further, asking us to imagine the Lord Jesus escorting the person into heaven at the time of death. Finally, imagine this loved one waiting for you.
Got chills just hearing that.
It really underscores the idea that even in death, love endures. It bridges the gap between the physical and the spiritual, offering comfort and connection that goes beyond the boundaries of time and space.
So as you go about your day today, dear listener, we invite you to carry that image with you.
Think about that one person you'll remember today.
Yeah.
What memory of them will you hold close to your heart?
Maybe it's a shared laugh.
A piece of advice they gave you.
Or simply the way they made you feel loved and seen.
Whatever that memory is, let it be a source of strength and comfort for you.
And may this deep dive leave you with a renewed sense of hope, a feeling of connection to those you've lost, and a deeper appreciation for the enduring power of love that transcends even death itself.